revenue would be once you add in the different rates.
Revenue that we had for September 30th, 2021 in that budget.
Okay.
If you use water one, you would want to put that 142. Okay, the same.
Same for sewer. So this spreadsheet that Hunter had emailed earlier today, it's just gonna have current water rates, and this total right here is gonna be the actual revenue that ended September 30th, 2021. And then this will be recommendation for one, all options. And if we would have had this in place, that would be the same thing. All they kind of did the same thing as sewer. And then these back pages is just the last time we had to increase water rates, which was 2011.
Been quite a few minutes.
Hours even.
Long time.
Bring me even one.
I didn't get any of that information. Sorry.
That is water.
So basically in 2021, we were $100,000 in total. Water and sewer.
And another point Lewis brought up on the water, the only reason we had more and not negative is because I've been shorthanded. So I have been paying them 2 operators, I've been working those hours,
And you
so.
still haven't had any luck finding another one.
So that would be a lot more too,
Yeah.
if that was figured in.
Okay.
And that's with us cutting our budgets and cutting our budgets and cutting our budgets to the bare minimums,
Yeah.
so. We could probably get a better idea if we went by expenses from a couple of years ago. Cause usually like in the water plant, I'm not sure about distribution, but like mine was 284. Normally it would be
Is that right?
44,500. But
Okay, contract. Okay.
I cut and cut and cut, so that's why I was on that, but done without, cut, done without, cut, you know.
Okay, we're back. All right.
Email me, remember when we had that discussion about payment, you actually found.
You know what, it would probably email.
The service was supposed to do something that we originally thought we had to do.
That was my clear well of the water plant.
Did you email me contract or did you just give me a hard copy? Because I went to search and I couldn't find it on my computer.
Mine just gave you a hard copy, but I can send it to you.
Louis, was it, you remember when I asked him a question about, is this the same paper that I asked you if they were gonna honor the price? And back, I asked him an email if they were gonna honor the price, being it was so old, the date was back in July.
I think that was a quote that you had received.
This ain't the, it was just the quote that we talked about back then. Okay,
Yeah, it was with Ann Clearwell.
okay, all right.
When she found a contract and
Yeah.
said that they were supposed to do it. And like I said, I thought you even do it. I didn't know.
All right. Well, it's 5 o'clock, y'all, I do believe, 4:59, we'll
Go ahead.
official. You say go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Let's have prayer right quick. Lord, we come today giving thanks to you, Father. Father, I just want to thank you for all the things that you do, Father. Father, I want to ask you if you would please lift this city up in your name, Father. Father, let this city benefit and strive that it may be a known place, Father, that there are good things going on here, Father. Father, just ask you that we would please let us go through these papers and talks today and come out with positive attitudes and positive vibes and thoughts, Father. Father, just ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, y'all, first thing I'm going to dive into is going to be our mask presenting, or if he hadn't presented the way he did, you know, I was gonna bring up in the meeting something about the mask. So, you know, I'll just say that, and I think I said to Councilman Ellis 2 weeks ago, when the attorney didn't show up at the meeting, and we had a little discussion about the mask. I just told him, I mean, you know, basically, I felt like, regardless of what the mask mandate was gonna end up being, as far as where we stood with it, it was gonna be time to, come out of the mask, but everybody was gonna be on their own as to the decision they made as far as wearing a mask. You know, so the floor is open for any discussion on the mask. And how do we feel as far as going forward? You know, now here's the thing, I wanna say this. With the higher authority saying, come out of them, like, it's just like the attorney did say, where do we stand as far as being here and saying, you out of way? Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, the CDC is information, not authority,
Correct.
okay? Now, I looked at the Alabama numbers, and then, you know, on the Alabama website, it's not quite as optimistic. And I just want to comment two things that I've just noticed in the last few weeks. About, I think it was 3 weeks ago, I went for a colonoscopy down at the AMC in Opelika, and they were not allowing anybody into the waiting area. Patient only, and that's all, okay? Now, and they had, it was red, and, you know, yeah, the lows weren't quite as low as they are now, but they were a whole lot lower than they had been, okay? Why were they doing that? Okay? Because keep the precautions that they had been taking were working to get the levels down. So, you know, and why did things suddenly leap up in December of this year? Why did they suddenly leap up in the summer before? Okay. Social interaction. Okay. People were out playing in the summertime. People were getting together for Christmas. And if you look at the cases in Chambers County, every 7 days there's a spike. Okay. Every weekend. Okay. So there's something going on. And you know, why did the levels come down at all? Because we took precautions. So it's like, suppose you've gotten 3 speeding tickets in the last 2 years, okay? And you said, well, I'm not going to speed now, okay? So you stop speeding for a while, and you don't get any tickets. Oh, well, I can start speeding again, right? So, you know, you have to approach it carefully, and I think maybe we can do without masks someday, but I really think that right now, we don't know enough, and we need to be, it's better to be safe than sorry. My personal view.
I feel the same way. Now, the other night, my point, you know, I would have been open to maybe listen at them, maybe on doing it with the mandate or whatever, but when the attorney just straight out just come in and defiant and say, you know, I'm not gonna wear a mask, can't nobody make me wear a mask, in so many words. I mean, we put that thing in place because back when we did in January, Chambers County was number 3 in the state with the infection rate, the number of cases of COVID. And I understand we can't make people take the vaccination, but at least, you know, protect other people from them, you know, from them, and protect themselves. I mean, wearing a mask, I haven't seen where it killed anybody. You know, we still got City Hall closed down, so we do away with the mask mandate, and we're gonna open City Hall back up. We'll have to.
Yeah. Masks are no fun, okay?
Right.
I don't like wearing them, I'd rather not wear one. But I think about what it means to society, what it means to me, what it means to other people if I'm carrying the disease and could give it to them.
So a lot of people don't know, and there's so many people who carry the virus around, don't even know they're contagious.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, that's at least we can say we got something in place to, you know, we're looking out for the overall city. Maybe a few people that don't want to do it, that's fine. But I think us as leaders and as a governing body, you know, that's the least we can do. So like I said, if somebody catches, you know, and missed time from work, other night was not to, and I hate that it came to that, you know, because I want to, I'm tired of the negative stuff in the paper every time we have a council meeting. I think we got lost our mind up there, we don't have no sense of governing, we got a circus going up there.
That's my whole point.
You know, so we got too much city business to be taken care of, so many things, issues we need to be dealing with, something as simple as that, you know. You know, you only hear, what, the meeting like 45 minutes to an hour or something, most times, wear your mask, you know, take it off or whatever. That's all I have to say.
Maybe you got something, you wanna say anything?
Well, basically, everybody about covered everything, but we all have a personal opinion. Right now, you know, I just think we just really need to look at it, maybe, not a mandate, but, if I wanna wear my mask, that's fine. You know, you don't wanna wear it, if you know, I just think the mandate part, I think it should be where, you know, it's a personal choice now. Because one thing about it, this ain't going nowhere, it's here for life. And either, you know, like I said, once we do that, we really need to see about opening back up City Hall. I had a few calls the other day about business stuff, dealing with property in the city and dealing with a bill and stuff, but the guy said he couldn't get a quiet understanding on the phone how it was, and he said, well, I can't come up there. I said, no, because we shut down. So, you know, just business-wise, it's kind of tough for us to try to explain stuff on the phone, you know. It makes the job difficult. I mean, trying to explain to somebody, because, you know, we got to realize now, everybody don't have a PhD, don't understand. Sometimes he got to probably do it like this, ma'am, sir, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's put a lot of pressure on them, and as well, you know, trying to handle everything by the phone.
Well, that's different from the mask, from wearing a mask, though.
What I'm saying, you know, if
Two things
Lewis
are different.
choose to wear a mask, I mean, that's fine. But just the mandate itself saying all employees, you know, need to wear a mask, that's just where I stand on it. I mean, you know, it's whatever the vote comes, when we bring it up again, I mean, you know.
And
It is what it
here's kind of one of the things we got y'all that we didn't give any thought into, okay? And that is, you know, we put in place that you gotta wear a mask, but what are the consequences if you don't wear a mask? So, you know, and I'm gonna say this, and, you know, as far as that's concerned, every time I've seen the ambulance, nobody's got a mask on in the ambulance. I mean, nobody. You know, not one mask. You know, so, I was talking to the police chief, and that was also walked in, no mask. You know, so, you know, if we're gonna put something in place to say we're gonna do something, you always gotta have a what if you don't do it. You know, and we all understand, you know, as far as, you know, at the mask situation that went on, people have got a little lax to say, hey, I'm gonna take mine off, I'm not gonna wear it, you know, here and there, whatever.
Wear it around their neck.
So, you know, if they feel comfortable, you know, I mean, that's that individual. And I'll say again, if I wanna wear my mask every time I come in, I'm gonna wear it.
Exactly.
You know, I think that, personally, I just think that's kind of where we need to go with the mask thing is, you know, you wanna wear your mask, fine. You don't wanna wear it, that's fine. You know, everybody know how they wanna try to protect themselves and their families.
That's right.
If you had this COVID, you know you don't want it no more. You know you gonna take some precautions, maybe even if the mask situation ain't there. You know, if it's say to wear a mask all the time, you gonna definitely do it. But if you put yourself in, if we're in a position to where we got a choice, we're gonna use that and go that route. So, you know, I guess, you know, that's just one of the things that, you know, from everybody here from my talk, I'm saying, you know, let's remove them and, you know, just put it to the individuals, you know, if they wanna wear 'em. You know, I don't know how, you see, let me just show you. Mr. Green here with his guys, he got 2 or 3 guys in the limb truck. So, you know, he can't monitor them all day. So if he run up on them, just say in a week's time, he run up on them 2 or 3 different times, and each one of them been caught without a mask, even to the 3rd time.
Okay, but are they with other people when they're doing that?
I'm saying, well, they in the truck. That's what I'm saying, yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm referring to. They're sitting there in the truck together, riding up and down the road, and if he run into them and they ain't got a mask on, for the 3rd time, I caught 2 of them in the truck, or all 3 of them. So how do I handle it? Do I suspend them? Do I write them up? Do I do this? We don't have anything in place to say Mr. Green can do this or do that if they ain't got a mask.
You know, I don't even think there's anything on the, even with the federal law, if somebody appeal that right now, that, you know, we have laid this down.
You know,
In court right now.
and you know, I'll say this because y'all heard it in the same meeting I heard it in. You know, the attorney, you know, he kind of mentioned something as far as to say, you know, so, you know, if you're gonna make people still wear masks and, you know, higher authority saying you don't have to wear a mask, then, you know, you need to be careful about what you're doing. Now, what he meant by that, he's the attorney. He may be sitting over there reading something I don't know nothing about, or we don't know nothing about. I don't know that.
He's never wanted to wear a mask.
Oh, I know that.
Okay, you know.
I know that.
He's one of those people that says, I don't need a mask.
That's right. You're right.
And sure
And
enough.
nobody gonna make me
You're
wear
right.
one,
That's
nobody
right.
gonna make me take no
And-
shot,
and-
you know, he just
And
define
see,
it,
there's gonna be people like that,
which is fine.
you know, and,
Mhm.
you know, keep them out,
So,
as far as I'm concerned.
you know,
You know, they show no respect for other people, okay?
And
Because
no
you're not just
respect in my
protecting
opinion.
yourself when you wear a mask, you're protecting the other people from your disease if you have it.
I just, the fact that he disrespect this governing body.
right.
That's the biggest thing I have,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
regardless, you know, we put something in place, or just out of respect,
That's true.
and just to defy and just say, you know,
Well, that's the only problem, I mean, that's the only problem I have too as well, you know, even before this discussion came up.
Yep.
He didn't have it on, and
Yep.
then the time before that, and I mean, I've already, you know, made up in my mind, even coming out of his own mouth saying the reason he didn't show up because of the man, so, I mean, you automatically saying you don't get paid for that day. So, you know, I'm not even worried about that, cause my mind made up on that part, but the thing is now, going forward, what do we do?
I want to say something real quick. Well, couple things. One, the first one, because it is two separate situations. But with regard to City Hall, we've been talking to people on the phone, but we let people come in. Like I actually had 2 meetings last week, and then a couple other meetings this week. So we're letting people come in by appointment. It's just not open. So people do come in. But the thing, and I'm just speaking for myself here. I don't want to speak for Ann or George, but I think part of this discussion is probably not for us, you know, because, you know, the discussion's starting to tilt toward the turning and what may or may not happen if we're paying for, you know, and just me personally, I don't really want to speak for them, but just me personally, I just kind of think that's a mayor and council decision, you know, and not necessarily us. But of course, y'all do it how you want to do it. But
And I guess, you know, what he's saying is, you know, we need to be in executive session prior to deal with that situation as far as, you know, that, you know, so.
or not even
that, just a
just
meeting of our own.
meeting, you know,
Yeah.
where, you know, and again, I don't speak for them, just me personally, I'm just kind of thinking, well, we can talk about water rates, the cemetery, you know, but then
We're gonna do that. And I didn't think, I'll be honest with you, when I wrote down the mask thing, I didn't think we would get real deep into it. I'll be honest with you. So,
Let's get
yeah,
on the water rate.
we can go on to that, that's no problem.
Let's think about it until the next council.
Let's go, okay. All right, let's talk about water and sewer rates. That's a quick fix. Move on.
As I said earlier, I might have made up on.
So guys, everybody looking, this sheet here, the first sheet that we got from Katie and Ann. Okay.
It's right. Right here, don't get me.
I got it.
So this water rate and the sewer,
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so, yeah, here it is right here. Same thing. She just used colored ink. We
And
need,
you know what, wanna make sure that you had a correct copy of those, if you got out the one from Katie, because remember, it changed.
The one Katie gave us did not have our expenditures on there, so I just kind of redid a little spreadsheet showing water distribution expenses, water plant expenses, and the total water expenses versus what revenue we had come in. And I highlighted that 3,000, but that's not gonna be right, because really we would be in the negative on water too, because we got a lot of things, like, we've had to cut our budgets so much. Used to, my budget was like 300,000 to 400,000, and we've had to make cuts and cuts and cuts and cuts and do without things, so that expense is gonna go up eventually. So you got to keep that in consideration when it comes to the water, and I've got 2 operators that I don't have right now that I'm working the hours, so that's 2 salaries that's not on here too, so that number would be a lot higher, just like the sewer as far as in the loss. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're making your decision, that the expenses are gonna go up.
Wasn't Rich also short too for a period of time?
Yeah.
Yeah, so his salary was gonna be.
So I mean, that's just what we actually spent that year, that's not what was budgetary, you see what I'm saying? So our budget may have been higher, but that's just what we spent, because some of the things that we put in our budget were not done.
Alright, so what we're on, what the options that we're looking at?
so on, right off, we kindly looked at option 1 on water and option 1 on sewer also. So, you know, in saying that, you know, and then when I continue to look further, I look to see that, you know, there was some higher numbers as far as water rate, number 4 is $41, and, sewer rate is number 4 also is the highest. Now, you know, I talked with the clerk and just asked, you know, about those numbers as far as being the highest or how we wanna do, you know, and that's up to us, I guess, you know, really decide, you know, and Lewis can help and Ann can help as far as saying, you know, the usage, the user fee and cost per 1,000 gallons. That's what people see on their utility bill, I think, as far as those numbers, per gallon and stuff like that, so,
What's the current rate right now would be?
that is on the
Current water right here.
front page or somewhere over here
That's
somewhere.
right.
Yeah, on that page.
Okay, so if you look at per column, current water, so there is not a user fee, so originally that said none, but when I was talking to Councilman Hunter, we said it's confusing, so there's not a user fee, but there's a minimum on water of 3,000 gallons. So basically, no matter how much water you use, your bill is gonna be $16.21, which is basically the per 1,000 gallon amount. 514 times 3 is 16.21.
Okay.
So that's gonna be your minimum bill. And then if you went up to 4,000 gallons, it'd be 21.35, you know, yada, yada, yada. But, so those are our current rates right now.
And so when you get into to these numbers here on this page, you still see the same thing that when you come down, 3,000 gallons, 2388. I'm talking in water 1. 2388, that would be that 514 times 3, right? See, you get that problem.
That's on this spreadsheet. If you
Okay.
get the
Yeah,
spreadsheet,
yeah.
it's gonna break
Yeah.
it down too.
That'll be water one on this
Yeah.
spreadsheet here that y'all looking at right here.
So the recommendation for water.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so the recommendation, water one recommendation would change the user fee from basically nothing to $8.46. The cost per gallon would stay the same, so your minimum bill though, because in water you're gonna go, your amount starts from 0 to 3,000. So if you get less than 3,000, it doesn't matter because you're charged for 3,000. Correct now? So your minimum bill would go from 1621 to 23,888.
Okay.
And then, so it's, those columns break down each.
When I multiply 514 by 3, I get 1542.
Yeah, but you gotta have the user fee.
Then you gotta add that $8 in there.
Yeah, the 846.
No, I'm talking about the first column.
You know what you are.
You get what? Yeah.
Eight. Okay, hold on. Let me pull this.
Oh, anyway, it's close enough.
Yeah. I know our minimum is 1621, and
That minimum may not be right. Have you
No.
got the,
that's what's in the rate though.
So
That's
instead of
what's the rate.
1621, it's
Hey,
gonna be 15.
I don't know.
No,
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 the minimum is 1621.
yeah. What we actually approved said 1621. So I thought it was.
I think they just
514
made that
times
the
three.
minimum, no matter what the
Okay.
cost
Cost
per gallon
was,
is.
yeah.
The minimum
That's the
bill
minimum.
was
Yeah,
gonna
it's gonna be
be 1621.
1621, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, so the minimum, okay.
But now, if you go by what she's recommending here, it would, like, you would have the 846 and the 514 involved.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, time 3, yeah.
Yes.
Correct. And also, one thing we wanna know too is when we say 3,000, 4,000, 6,000 gallons, we actually, when we get beyond 3,000, it's prorated.
Yeah.
So for instance, if you use, say, 2,500 gallons, you don't get charged for 3,000, you get charged for the percentage of
What you actually.
514. Yeah, but that's done in the system.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Oh, okay,
Let's see,
say the minimum balance, I'm in
Minimum
the
bill.
minimum amount in water is 3,000, meaning if you use 1 gallon or you use 3,000 gallons, you get charged for 3,000. After you get above that, it starts prorated. So so somebody used 3,050 gallons, his bill or her bill is gonna be less than somebody that uses 3,100 gallons. Because it prorates the 514.
Yeah, okay, it takes the 514.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, times the number of, yeah, got it.
And we talked about the auditor, we talked about that with the auditor years back, and what the auditor said was, it's best to do that so that you don't have somebody that later on comes back and tries to challenge it and says, well, hey, y'all really charged me for more than what I was using.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Alright, so the recommendation is water number 1, the first column?
Well, I mean,
It's not-
Well, that's what Katie recommended.
that's what, Kay had kinda said, but look at all of them and just decide. Let's talk about it like this, let's look at it like this. We're talking about increasing rates in more than one place. So, do you wanna get it all from, or a lot from, do you wanna go to $41.15 over here in water 4, and $40-something over here in, sewer 4, and then when you go to doing your garbage, you got your 1 cent, and all this, do you wanna just tack all that on?
Maximum, yeah.
So here's the thing now.
Leave room, you can do stuff over a year, you come back.
Here,
Come
that's
in
what
and
I'm saying, so,
do something else, don't hit them all with that.
right,
Yeah,
that's what we gotta look at.
You got
That's-
no wiggle room,
Yeah, that's what she
We
recommended.
already kinda hit them a little
Yeah,
bit.
Yeah,
that's
so-
what
Have
she
it written up
recommended.
where we'll talk about, an increase maybe, 2 years,
I think it's
a
35.
nickel every year for 2 years, or, something like that,
She recommended that, but she also recommended we don't wait 11 years to have another rate increase.
Yeah, that's,
you know, so, you know, cause that's what makes it so
That's
hard
what's
on the
made it
community,
hard.
because we hadn't had one 11 years, and now we're just gonna go way up on it, when we could've kind of periodically done it every
Yeah,
3
yeah.
years or so, you see what I'm
Well,
saying? So,
according, Monday night from Miss Cameron, she said anything right now
Yes,
is
yes.
sufficient, because she said, I'm just gonna be honest with you, Mayor, I don't see how in the world they gave you
I
all
know
the
the
money.
grant, I know.
So she said anything, a penny or 2 cents or 5 cents.
Yeah.
So we can start at the minimum right now, then put something in place every 2 years, every 4 year or something, just.
We need a
But you
plan
wanna
to do
try to
that.
make a difference, you wanna try to make sure you're making enough to cover what we're
Yeah,
spending,
yeah,
and not be in the hole like this is showing
Yeah,
right now. So,
Say, yeah,
that's why she recommended the water one, not to go to the extreme with water four, but maybe water
Water
one.
one would get us out of the red,
It's gonna be possible.
pretty.
pretty
But you
close,
gotta-
with
yeah.
everything else we got
Yes,
going on,
yes.
that would be a great help.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it's something.
Yeah, well, that's, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like Ann said, what you don't wanna do is raise water rates, you know, still in the negative, because
Yeah.
actually you
Then
just,
you have to raise them again.
yeah, you have to raise them again, and what's the point of that?
Yeah.
Well, we have to look through it, how are our costs going?
Exactly.
They're not going down, they're not staying the same, they're going up.
No, they're not.
And we don't know how fast they're gonna go up, so we need to have some.
Well, let me
cushion
give you an
in there, too.
example of that. My lime machine that I've got in my budget
Uh-huh.
has went up $10,000 since I got that quote. So I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to get it because it's not in my budget. So things are going up, everything's going up,
So
so,
we need to have some cushion in it, not just enough for what we see now.
Yeah.
'Cause by the end of the year, who knows, prices are gonna go up.
So, in saying, and what you all are saying and talking about, I mean, you know, I guess, let's look at it like this. Let's look at rate one, probably on both of them, maybe, and then let's see where these total numbers fall out at, as far as any kind of increases that we bring in, and then let's tack on in wording in the ordinance or whatever, that we're gonna have increases at a certain period of time up the road.
You know, we have a lot of things that we've been postponing.
I understand that.
And we need to be careful and try to, that's what we do, we need to try to cover that, so that we don't end up just pushing things down the road again, so we have to do it, because,
Well, that's what I said, I mean, right now, if we just, okay, so,
okay, just to break even, and cover 2 salaries that we're missing. Two salaries?
yeah, I mean, right now, I got 2 water operators and a part-time wastewater that's not here, that I'm taking.
And even if you hire somebody right now, you're talking about a year before you can be certified, right? So,
You're talking about 371,000 if you take.
And Lewis said this don't include the depreciation either.
Yeah.
He didn't think about that, so
Right, yeah, you gotta.
that's about 100,000 for each plant, more in the negative.
And I don't remember your vehicles, Lewis made us up a list with how old of the vehicles with their ages, and there's a whole bunch of old ones on there. I think 95 was the oldest one.
I got it. You can
You
have
got
it.
it? He's got it, okay.
so in the rates right there, guys,
Is that
if we even went with,
depreciation?
if we went with rate number 4,
This last one will be with.
opposed to rate number 1, there's a $1.85 difference in those. I got it. Let's go. Yeah, I got it right. Yeah, okay, something.
The reason I wanna pass this out, this is just a summary of the current budget that we're under right now, that we're trying to balance. A summary of everything. I have stuff that, department heads requested, I actually put it in debt service, which turned it into, instead of say paying $130,000 for a limb truck for this period, we financed, say, over three years. So if you look at sanitation debt on the second page, you'll see that it's $28,032. And I want to say that's wrong, George, so I had to do it more than 3 years. But I kind of especially when you're financing everything. So the reason I'm giving you this is because when you look at it, you'll see that general fund, negative 832 and some change on the first page. On the bottom of the first page, the water is negative 281, 315. Wastewater is negative 220, sanitation is negative 132. So just look at those numbers and think about these increases. So for instance, on the water side, if you use option 1, it would increase, it would give you $224,000 more, which would mean you're still basically about 57,000 in the red. And if you do the same thing for the sewer, and then if you factor in on your garbage, y'all talking about going up going up to $25. But my point is, even with those increases, we're still,
Not enough.
yeah, not enough. Now, the thing with the water, you be better next year because water includes $115,000 worth of debt that was our last bond payment. I hadn't included in this number because it was paid in this year.
So that'll be knocked off.
But that'll be knocked off, and that water debt would actually really be, say for October 1 would be, let's say 106. So then, if you take that debt out, then with increase number 1, you would be running a little bit of a surplus. But I think it's important to look at these numbers.
And not only that, each of these departments ought to contribute
Take
something to the general fund, because they have to cover for payroll, hiring and firing people, there's a whole lot of overhead that goes with it. So we ought to have, I don't know, I think the number 15% surplus in all of these just to cover the overhead in the general fund.
I just kind of wanted y'all to see this though, so you could, you can go in yourself and just mess around with these numbers. You can say, okay, water rate number 3 says 281, and I see that it's negative 281, so that'll put us basically at 0, even. You can kind of mess around with those numbers yourself. I'll actually email this to you too, so you can type it in the Excel spreadsheet to automatically redo it for you. But
I played with this last year and I still kept coming up in the
Well,
red.
if you look at 1 and you look at 4, it's only 35 cents difference.
Between the two.
Yes, so if you were to go with option 4 on the water to the 24, 23, I mean, you're only going up 35 cents. I mean, as far as if they go to option 4, it's 24, 23 for the minimum or whatever.
Per 3,000.
If they choose that one, it's only 35 cents difference than that one.
Yeah, cause one
But
is 23 and
it's more for each traditional gallon, so that's why it's more money down at the bottom. When you looking at option 1 and option 4, and the difference, 224,000 and 348,000, is a big difference, but it's only 35 cents as far as the minimum bill.
Tell me mine, number 1 out, then I'm looking at number 4 then.
no, and this is something.
Once you gave us that to look at the budget.
Yeah, I would say, this is something y'all can look at and maybe meet again next week, and then the following Monday, have a pretty good idea of what you want to recommend, because, if I had to guess, you're not gonna have unanimous consent to deal with this on the first
But
night,
that's-
so.
Yeah, the sewer's different. You're looking at almost a $6, a little over $6 from going from option 1 to option 4. You see what I'm saying? But the water's not at 35 cents, so that, on the sewer, you might wanna do the different one, but.
And then that's one thing I talked about Councilman.
4 on water and 1 on sewer.
This one thing I talked to Councilman Mangum about too was, remember, y'all also recommended basically the $11 a month increase on garbage. So, when you add 11 here, then some here and some there, remember, that's on somebody's bill, so. I mean, but I'm mentioning that, Councilman, to say, maybe you just don't wanna go to the highest on all of them, because then all of a sudden somebody's bill will jump in 1 month, $50-something, and then they'll see that. Because if my bill is normally $250, and then now it's $300, well, you know what? Y'all just increased my bill by 20%.
need to be where, okay, I see a little increase, but right now, I'm good with that. So, you know, since we doing everything, since it fell on our lap to do all this, so, you know, we still
But it gotta
have,
make sense with these overall numbers.
That's right, that's right.
Somehow we have to break even.
Yeah, that's
Also,
And have a plan to have a surplus in the future.
this is just residential now,
Yeah.
so we're not even talking, her recommendation for the commercial and industrial is just to go up 10% of whatever we're doing now. Because it's hard to figure it, because you never know how many businesses you're gonna have, who's gonna be, so it's hard to do a rate study under commercial and in industry, but she just recommended whatever we're doing now, go up 10%, and that should kinda cover us on them. Or you can leave them the same, whichever, I mean,
Okay, that customer, we wouldn't, that
Yeah.
would be the same. We're gonna go up on the citizens.
so we're looking at, on water right now, 1 or either 4. So, you know, so we have an idea when we go home and look over stuff steady. So then the 2 that we kind of, so we won't be looking all over the place, so we can minimize this thing and get this thing done.
well, one was still gonna put us in debt, 57,000 you said?
But that's not counting the
Nah.
businesses, I mean,
Yeah,
that's.
oh, but you
because,
did say
know,
that that's
we
coming
know-
off too, okay, never mind.
But then too, you talking about,
100 and something
this is just
thousand.
residential here, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about the businesses and stuff, so that's gonna, they're gonna bring up
By
some.
October, that 100 some thousand would be
That-
quite the way too.
That's $50,000, $57,000 on, in the negative on that on that
Debt, water.
debt, water, you know, I'm gonna say close businesses and stuff would come close maybe. It's just a guessing.
Yeah, I mean, I would think yes, but, you know, and that's one thing, when we get our new software,
Mhm.
that's something we be able to run those.
Right.
Like, let's
Yeah.
just run what we, what the revenue was, say, on our commercial rate customers, what our revenue was, say, on our industrial. So when we get new software, that, now we can't really run that, we would have to go in and find out all our customers and add up all the annual bills for the year, but,
And 2, like I said, I'm in agreement with rate increases and all that, but we can't, again, hitting them with,
Yeah.
you know, a bunch of money at one time. Then 2, we gotta look at 2, how we're spending money, you know. You know, we can't keep spending like we've been spending in the past too, so that's the biggest thing too. Every department got to really look at, and we got to look at, do we really look at how we spending money and on stuff that we probably really don't, we got to prioritize what, you know, within each department, what we need, I mean, stuff that we
Cut services.
provide these services, and we, you just can't, you know.
there was some, Councilman Langham didn't say what I actually said to him. He said it in a nicer way, but the reality is, when you talking about cutting services, what we're really saying is cutting people. Because you're not gonna cut enough of a $15,000 operating supply budget down
Right.
to make a difference. You know, I mean, if it's only 15,000 for the whole year, I mean, you can't cut it to 5. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you're talking about cutting people.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that in front of the news, that's why I haven't said it, but the reality is, we do need to look at both sides, what we're spending, but the reality is, if we pass the sales tax, but if there's not gonna be any rate increases, then the only other option is getting rid of people. And it's just, that's the most direct way that I can say it.
And then
I
2,
don't think we better get rid of any of the water.
Well, no, we're not saying that.
But, you know, and it goes back to one of the things too, like we look at, you know, we look at the, job descriptions, what people are doing, that, you know, and demand people do more than what they're doing, instead of hiring all these new, for example, code enforcement, that's, you know, I think we got enough people over there every day, that's enforcing city ordinances. I mean, if they hit 2 or 3 houses every day, or they out riding, seeing somebody doing business, whatever, I mean, it's simple. I mean, we're a city of 2,600 people, you know, and we're providing, you know, we're doing something like as big as Opelika and Auburn on some of these things that, you know, if you've got to double up, they can do more than one task. I mean, you know, people got to do their part too, you know, they expect, we got to do what we got to do, but some of the employees got to tighten up and do what they need to do too, you know. You look at stuff like that, some of these positions and stuff, you know, well,
type in that additional, say, on water one, it says additional 224,000. You can just type it in here, and then it'll adjust not only what your bottom line is in water, but it'll adjust what your bottom line is overall, so you can play with it. And then that way, you can come up with what you think, each individual person, what you think is a good idea, so you can play around with it, and you can jot down your little notes, and then when y'all meet again, you can say, well, hey, I was messing around with it, and I saw water rate, say, 2 and sewer rate 3, in my opinion, was the best option, and then y'all can have those conversations.
All right, so we're good on the water rate for right now? As far as, you know, you go home and look at them and you know, we just go ahead and schedule another meeting, so we can come back and talk about them again and go ahead.
With the $400-something we got from the grants, what that money gonna be primarily used for?
That's going to the
Repairs at the
courthouse.
water, at the
Outlet repairs and stuff that you need?
But I got an additional $750,000 coming, I'm hoping that we're gonna get that money from ADM for the water. And he's already got a list of stuff that me and him went over, that some old stuff that needs replacing and all that. That's gonna cover a lot, that's gonna help us on our expense too, because that's money the city's not gonna have to pay to replace this old stuff too, so. And I got 2.2 million possibly coming to the waste, so,
You have a whole system on there,
that's right.
which is good.
Okay.
And then too,
The rescue plan money too, what, you know, that money just sitting there, what, we gotta come up with a plan on what we're gonna do with that.
I would wanna bring that up.
Yeah, I've got it on here
Yeah.
also.
Okay.
So, let me ask you this, when you have to buy water from whoever,
Cuba.
how much does that cost in the city?
Oh, I don't see the bill, but, let me see if I got a copy of one of them. Can you pull it up? Yeah.
So everybody on 50, that way, outside the city limit in the jurisdiction, are they getting their water from us, or they getting it, we just be getting water from Hugo when we?
When we have emergency.
Yeah,
So we cut down on emergency, we won't have to buy that much water.
Yeah.
right, that's what
And
I'm
I would
getting at.
love
Plan to
that.
have no emergencies.
Cause see, that's what I'm getting at.
Cause a lot of times we have emergencies, we're running the plant 24 hours and buying water,
Right.
so yes, I would love not to have those emergencies anymore.
And how many have we had
We had 3
so far?
since the new
Since we've
budget,
been in this administration?
Yes.
3.
3 major ones, one that cost us to have a water bowl.
The water that was lost at the old rubber plant out there, did we send them a bill, the owner, have we?
I gave Amy how many gallons and.
We need
whether
to
it was
recoup
billed
that
like-
money, we need to, that's
Well,
what we need to look at, we need to go after them on that. When it's not our fault, it's on the customer.
Yeah,
Uh,
I sent her the gallons and they were gonna, actually, Alicia come up with, I think I sent you the numbers, didn't it? It's like $7,000 something dollars or something.
and that tank out there, that Bull, somebody getting back up, has he got it back up yet, the one at, that industrial park we talked about?
He said he could get the water to shut off, that was the problem the engineers had to begin with, when they were supposed to have done it years ago, I guess.
He said he was gonna get it done, so
Yeah.
he was adamant that he was gonna get it done.
That's the problem we're having in distribution, is the valves are not working properly. And I've been trying to get a valve inventory of which ones are tore up, which ones are covered up, which ones are not working, which ones are working.
And we have missing fire hydrants too.
Yeah, so
Like the
we
one down here
can
at the
get
corner.
these things fixed, because I'm telling y'all, Alabama Rural Water can come and tell us where every single leak we've got is, if our valves are working, but they can't if our valves are not working, and we can cut down on a lot of this lost water that we're losing.
That's a dummy fire plug, I think that's a dummy fire plug you're talking about. If you're talking about the one on 431 and Avenue, I mean, that's.
One up here in
No.
Wisconsin.
Right across from Jimbo.
It's not, it wasn't down, it was a
That's a
truck,
fire hydrant.
truck took it out.
Wait a minute now, wait now. I'm only repeating what the distribution superintendent told me.
He might not be here.
Right here by the theater.
Yes.
No.
Listen guys, I have went to him earlier on that particular fire plug. He told me that was a dummy fire plug.
Well, open it up and see if water come out of it.
You can't, ain't
Oh,
none of that.
Broken off.
And
It
then,
broke off, and it's been broke off for
It's
several
probably
years.
leaking under there somewhere too.
What happened,
A truck turned in, took it out.
that's where you don't have the little,
The little black
decorative
stand
mark
there,
on the
yeah.
backside, I moved
Yeah.
it from the back.
I'm telling y'all, that man told me that was a diamond fire plug.
I don't know whether he was here or not when
He
it
was
happened.
here.
And then the thing with the valves, I mean, you say y'all don't know which one's working with, I mean, do y'all inspect or do y'all
Well,
have a
here's
list
the
of
thing.
all the valves? When are y'all gonna find, when are y'all gonna check in and find out when the?
That's not
Hey,
me.
hey, listen.
That's on Google?
Council,
Yes.
you're saying y'all. It ain't on him.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's on Richard.
I try to help him out, so
So
when I
Richard,
get
That's
up
been
and speak
discussed since last year.
on his behalf, I'm doing it because I'm not, what I'm saying is, I don't think he was properly trained on everything he's responsible for.
I think that's probably true.
So, basically, he either don't know, or when I try to tell him, okay, this is on you, not on me, but I'm gonna help you the best I can, you know, but I think, I don't know,
Okay.
And that's the reason why I'm bringing all this up. Excuse my expression, shoot, we got to do our part too. You know, we're hitting rates and stuff, we ain't got our stuff
the
together.
main thing y'all need to do is get a valve inventory done. If it's been covered up with pavement, if
We've
it's
been
been
talking about
buried
that.
under
We've
the
been talking
dirt,
about
if
what you
it's
said now.
not
What's the
working,
name
a
of it?
valve
Inventory.
inventory.
We've been talking about that. Richard's been in the meeting
There
talking
is
about
a
that.
map, and we may have one here, but there is a map hanging at the fire department that Richard said he has a copy of, that has a spot on there for every single valve that has been installed in this city. So if they don't know where they're at, they can take that map and start at one and go all over the, and I know there's a bunch of them, but I guarantee you there's more than 12 out there that's not
Well,
working.
well, the point is, you're supposed to be able to isolate water. at
That's
any
right, and
given
that's
time.
what our problem is, that's
At
what
any
these
given
big
time.
blowouts are
Yeah.
causing us to lose all our water because they can't close it off.
Well, he need to be at the next meeting then.
And I will say this,
And it's not, I mean, I'm not blaming it on him, I'm just saying these valves have got to be either replaced or fixed or operational to where these disasters do not happen and we're not completely out of water. And I'm having to run a 24-hour shift
and I'm not
and
trying
buy water.
to take up for Richard, but I will say this. You name me a department head in the city of Lafayette that has been trained properly. Show me a department head.
Nobody.
What happens is, I interview, hire somebody,
You got the job. Go to work.
and that's
But
it.
if I don't know it, I'm not,
No,
no,
but I'm not taking up on,
I
I'm just
know.
saying, when we're talking about not properly being trained, there's even things that even though you worked under Katie, you told me, well, she didn't tell me
she didn't
that.
show me.
And then
we'll-
you
I
worked
get on the
under
phone.
one of the better ones, like George, when you came in, who did you train under, George?
I just walked in the door.
Who did I train under when I was hired? Now, I got to know because Pete Gardner came up here some,
Yeah.
but the reality is,
Figure it out.
we hire people, and then y'all figure it out.
Throw them to the wolves.
And I'm not trying to take up for Richard, I'm
No,
just
I
saying,
agree.
that's just the reality
agree.
of us.
Yeah, but-
Richard's not the only person that hadn't been
You
trained.
gotta get on the phone and find
Yeah.
out stuff. If I don't know how to do something, I'm on the phone with AJ, I don't care.
Well, but
I'm like, tell me how to do this, tell me what I need to
to
do.
replace valves, you gotta have money too.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
in saying that, I mean, I understand in saying that. I mean, the main thing for us to know is that
Where is it?
we know where we can and can't cut our water at. That's the main thing.
And the
Even
water
even if you know, hey, the one at the fire station don't work, go down to the next one, you know, or go above it, you know, just whatever, you know.
I
Yeah,
don't,
we should have some type of, yeah, let's say you got a map, and there should be markers or something to that everybody.
But they got caps, they're underground in the caps.
yes, but some of them may be covered up with
That's what I'm
pavement.
saying, yeah.
What I'm saying, we could be something to put, I mean, there to identify and know, so they know
Yes.
what we,
Yeah.
we know where they all are, you
Yeah,
know.
you know,
That would be a great idea.
yes.
And I put the last four payments to East Alabama Water, June 2nd of 21, we paid them $1,309.49. September 7th of 21, $776.53. January 7th of this year, $1,052.90, and February 14th of this year, $1,125.05.
Those are not huge amounts.
So that's not bad, I mean.
They're
yeah.
definitely lower than I thought.
You was in there when they asked, but did we ever send a bill to, Carlos for that leak?
It was my understanding they got the number from you, and
I gave it to Amy, but I don't know if they
I
billed.
will verify
Okay.
tomorrow morning that they actually billed me.
$4,000.
Yeah, that ain't bad, that ain't bad, guys.
That's something to read.
42.
I was thinking it was like 7,000.
Okay.
But anyway.
Now,
Alright,
this bill that they sent us that we paid, so.
that's all that matters.
That's
That's all
all I'm
that
saying.
matters.
I don't know how much.
I was talking about how much we're billing Cardos.
Yeah, okay, so let's move on. We got the water situation out in the open. We know what we need to do to bring it, you know, to a vote and get it in an ordinance and all that. So let's go to, our cemetery ordinance.
Does everybody have a copy of it?
So, in the cemetery ordinance, I think we've got the attorney has already looked over this, correct, Mr. Clark?
This is one the attorney sent, but.
Sent back to us.
Yeah, but it doesn't have anything with regards to the back and forth y'all had via email, you know.
Okay, I got, I'm gonna mention that now,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm. Okay, so in this, that was, I sent out, I asked for, let's see, Mr. Hunter had some questions. And in section 4, G, wait a minute. Okay, and yeah, section 4G, is the burial allowed to proceed without bringing the grave into compliance? There was a question in there say,
It doesn't
if,
say,
huh?
it doesn't say, it just says.
Okay, we
a fine.
so, if Mr. Green go out there and check a grave, and it's not in compliance with what it's supposed to be, you know, burial can't take place. It should not take place, should I say.
I agree.
What should happen is, Mr. Green, whoever's digging the grave, need to bring it up to compliance at that time, or you don't have a burial.
So how many days, from the time that they come and say, we need a grave, we're gonna bury somebody at Handle or Lafette Cemetery, are we giving them to ensure that George have enough time to inspect? How much time between,
Man, look, I don't know,
Yeah.
you gotta talk to Mr. Green.
how soon are they notifying you before funeral?
Some notify me, some don't. If we have to do
Some
that,
go out and start digging,
we do have some directors that go out there and dig
we
on
need to
that.
change that, they need to notify, so you.
I think we got that in place, it's something in
Okay.
there.
I think that's gonna be in place, and
Yeah,
we have several issues.
before
on
they,
that. Now, sometimes, it doesn't state how many hours or how many days before burial take place, we should be notified. Sometimes it's less than 12 hours, 15 hours.
sometimes you need at least 48 hours or something,
Yeah,
so
I could be
so you
on-
can expect.
Sometimes it's research. Now, some of our cemetery, we had to go out there and research a lot of stuff before they do some burial. Somebody that bought a lot 50 years ago.
Yeah,
So,
where is it?
then you have to research it. So if
3
we make a
days.
mistake, it's on us, with a short notice, that can
Yeah,
happen.
3 days or so at least.
But what we do, we
2,
go
3
out and
days,
template,
40
mark it,
days.
at least 36 hours, 24
I would think.
hours. Something. I usually can do it pretty within
They usually
24
don't
hours.
bury people
But-
faster than that, right?
But this is the thing,
Well,
don't call me at like 12 o'clock today and have a funeral like 1 o'clock tomorrow.
They need to notify 5 days.
We've had people that have passed on Friday though, and then when I came in Monday, they had already had. the
Well, that's
funeral
true,
on
but, that's true, but
I mean, on the weekend, I
we
mean,
have some
but
funeral home children, don't even tell us that.
At least,
That's something.
that was us, some.
well, I just say, so you have different,
Here-
that have different type, we, us,
Well,
it's
we
minimum
never-
7
Yeah,
days.
you know, I was gonna say,
Minimum, like, the earliest you're gonna be somebody 7 days. you
Yeah.
know?
And then,
You know, 3 days, at least 3 days or something.
Need some time.
well, I think the main, and I guess I need to just go away from this and just talk about, cause we're in the same ballpark as far as what we're saying, as far as like Mr. Green is talking about what, say at Lafette Cemetery. I cemetery things that you signed saying Lafayette Cemetery? Very few. One of the most recent one, was Mr. Hunter.
So these are, most people in bed right now, people that already own the,
Well, we hope, you know,
or they come in buying them before the funeral.
No, not most cases, not like that, no.
so,
What, I mean, they are people that already own the plots already, or?
There's been a lot of pre-planning out there at the Lafayette City Cemetery, a lot of old, some graves are so.
Family
Families have made some good pre-planning out there.
and that's what we, here's the thing, here's the question. How much information do you know as far as there's somebody being buried out there at any given time?
If they're out of town, 9 times out of 10 they call us, but some local funeral homes don't never call.
Well,
Listen,
we can stop talking about local and all that, we talk about Jeff Johnson.
Well, let me say this quickly. Let me say this quickly. I have tried to enforce a lot of ordinances in our local cemetery. I get some double back, call back, different calls from council, mayor, and all that. I'm too tough on them, but I try to follow ordinances, cause they always kind of come back and haunt us. Look, I can tell you right now, we got an old situation in the city cemetery to where we was asked to, remember this one, asked to pay for moving a grave over. And basically, it wasn't one was the good one, it was just, sometimes the guys done the excavator don't even have a tape to measure. So if you got, so many feet here to here, you skip over 3 or 4 feet, you're gonna make people
You're
move
gonna get
grave.
off, that's right.
So basically, I had brought it back a little bit, that really ain't on us, so they need to use some. But that comes from us not going out there, finding the cones and marking.
See,
Take it on their own, so
Gets
stuff
back
like
to
that
the
happen.
corner markers.
that's where we need, in this ordinance, y'all, there is stuff that talks about graves being dug or any time without our.
Can we hold on just a second? Okay, we're gonna have no burial in non-conforming graves, but how much warning does Mr. Green have to have?
Yeah.
Well, now sometimes they might have 3 or 4 funerals going on at one time.
I understand, so it's a 24-hour limit?
Well, I don't know.
48 hours.
I think it's in our
What do you
old
know?
ordinance, ain't it, Louis, about the notification, I believe.
I'm saying, the thing is, if we put in an order, they need to notify the city hall and
Yeah,
whatever,
they notify.
and not just go out there and dig a grave and then you find out after the fact and there's a problem. The rule's gonna be the rule, they don't have to,
And I
I
assume,
have to pull that.
each funeral home and whoever they have to dig their grave gonna get a copy of this ordinance.
I hope you do. And I hope,
yeah, we're gonna have to,
stand behind it.
Yeah.
Well,
And-
and you post a sign at the cemeteries that says, before digging the grave, contact the city
yeah,
48 hours in advance, okay?
yeah.
I think the funeral home needs to be.
Well, yeah, we need to
Tell the
post it,
funeral
we
homes
put it up,
too,
we
but
put
also put
signs up
put
and
a
post
sign.
it too, so they know. I think we can do that too, cause that way you're not caught by surprise and.
So what we're looking for right now is some time frames.
48
hours.
Notification,
48 hours.
I would say 48 hours, if they can.
And that's feasible to you.
Well,
If they
anybody-
can, now, they're gonna have to be, and not if they can, the 48 hours, that's gonna be it, don't be late, I mean, no, you say 48, we say 48
That's why
hours.
we asking you,
Well, yeah,
36,
48
48
48,
hours, I
12
mean,
hours.
that way,
There's
Well, that
always
will help
special
them also in their
cases.
pre-planning, they know they have to notify full time frame,
You know.
48 hours.
might have died, ain't we put them in the ground and
No.
everything, so they gotta wait at least 48 hours, I mean, at least notify City Hall
Yeah.
within 48 hours.
No,
Before the
no,
grave
no,
is
no,
dug.
no.
But it don't say.
But I'm saying, well, once this become the way it is, they're gonna have to start doing it, or they won't bury in our cemetery, man, put rules in place, they gotta follow the rules,
Okay,
48 hours.
okay. So we're good on a time frame.
48 hours.
Okay.
So that's for that's for section 4G. 48
Well,
hours.
basically number 4 was really just, it'll probably go in section 4 somewhere, maybe, I don't know where to go, but anyway, that was, 4 was just referring to, Mr. Hunter has mentioned it, and somebody else mentioned it, I don't know nothing about it, but said something about a grave somewhere that had been left with the vault
Dr. Campbell.
head still up above ground, the head of the vault.
The vault was
Higher than the grave.
And it's supposed to be 18 inches below.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
supposed to be 18 minutes, so.
Below ground level, and it was actually above ground level. And they've since put some sod over it and piled up the dirt.
then too, once they dig the grave, it should be inspected by the city,
Exactly.
by
That's
Georgia,
in here
before,
also.
before the burial even take place.
Yep.
All that's
If
in
it's not right, that's why within 48 hours, they got time to correct it, so.
Our biggest problem right now is grave being open, left open.
That's in here also.
Yeah, that's a,
Yeah, I know
I
that's.
don't know what we're gonna do with that situation. I
Well,
don't
we
know.
put a rule in place, George.
Well, we got something.
It's it right here now, we ain't got to worry
Put the
about it.
ordinance from back
Once
on
we
that,
just
that's gonna be
Give
the
this
law.
a pad,
Then one
then
of those
just hand
stupid
it out to
plates
them,
that
it's
Spire
up,
uses.
it's up to each.
Well, it's just
one.
like, let me tell you, I passed by the Rest Haven the other week, and they had 2 graves close to the road. So, they were working on, somebody was working on the grave a little farther away from the road, but the grave over here had already been dug. But they had it covered with plywood, had it covered,
Yeah, you sure?
so nobody could fall in,
Accidentally fall in.
you know, or
And
anything.
two, once we, just the basic rules, operating hours, whatever, these rules and stuff like that about some of the stuff you can post, you can have signs put up out there and then post what the rules are. Too, so they know there's no excuse. They see that when they come in the cemetery.
Yeah, we need to
So,
get 2 big signs, we
in-
just make some signs, put in both cemeteries.
in section I, the question was asked about, is the, Mr. Hunter
Yeah. What I was,
oh, should this say that the responsible person that may contract with the city to open or close a grave?
grave or columbarium, you know,
So what we, listen, you know, you read stuff, you don't know what it is sometimes, so we found out that the Columbia in I there is where they can put the urns in. It's like just a wall that the urn goes in and sealed in.
yeah.
So we don't have that.
Okay. Well, but we might have some in the future, but my point here was that we should, see, up here it talks about somebody else digging the grave, but then down here it says the city will open or close them. But what I was trying to get across was, it's an option, that they can contract with the city to open.
I don't think we wanna do that.
Beg pardon?
I don't think we wanna do that.
Okay, well, if we don't, then,
Yeah,
okay, well, then we just scratch that out, because
Yeah.
it says the city will open, that's fine, you know.
yeah. I don't think we wanna be in the grave digging business or grave opening business of any kind.
That's good, okay,
Yeah.
so we scratch this whole paragraph then.
My whole, just mark through I, all of I.
Right, take out I.
Yeah, I guess we should, we'll check out our ideas.
If we're not gonna dig them, then we take out I. Okay,
Okay.
that's fine, that takes
All right.
that takes care of my question.
So, the last one on, section 7-8, markers, the question was asked, my understanding that the owner is to provide, the corner markers in the city is to install them in order to be sure that they are properly positioned. I agree with that. I also think that there should be a time limit for the owner of the lot to deliver the corner markers to the city, perhaps 30 days. And I responded back to Mr. Hunter, I agree that proof of purchase should be within 30 days. Proof of purchase to the city, or, city official, Mr. Green, in 30 days, within 30 days, and here's why. That person that ordered those corner markers had no control when they get here. I've had some ordered over 30 days right now, and I haven't got them yet. So, I just think we need to make sure that proof is they got them ordered. Because you pay for them up front. And, then we're good. And then Mr. Green will set them. Now, there's 2 options. You can pay the people at the monument place to come up here to do it, but Mr. Green's still gonna be on site.
Yeah.
So, when I bought mine, I just told him, I'll pick them up and I'll take them to Mr. Green. And he can put them in, cause he'll know where they go. Cause see, you gotta pay those people to come up here to do it.
Yeah, and then they have to figure out.
And then they gotta still
You
get
gotta
Mr.
get Mr.
Green.
Green to show them.
Yeah, so, that was the question on that Mr. Hunter and I had all been discussing back and forth.
Yeah, and what you came up with is fine.
So, in looking over the ordinance there, sit down and look at it and you know, we're agreeing to take out I and whatever else is anything. We know we need to get the 48-hour notice for digging placed in. Now I will go back, oh yeah, I got something else.
So what it's gonna say is something like, all owners are required to provide markers for the four corners,
Yeah,
okay? Instead of, they're not gonna place them, they're gonna provide.
they provide,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm. Be it, they get their people to come up here, or
Yeah.
they just bring them straight from the screen.
Yeah.
So if y'all go to section F, section 4, F and G. So down on the bottom line, on F, down on the bottom line, it says service within any cemetery located within the city of Lafayette. So when you go back and read it, it probably should read, and I guess we're gonna go back to this few.
I think you could say within any city.
Within any city cemetery,
Okay.
within,
That brings me up with a question. Is the city responsible for enforcing state law on,
you got that
on
on,
burials? You know, we have a cemetery ordinance,
within any city
like
cemetery.
the burial depth and things like that. Does that apply to all cemeteries, or is it just about a city-owned cemetery?
It's in our old order. I mean, I think this one might be missing some pieces out of the old order.
Yeah, this is just the suggested changes, so what we do, if they approve this,
It's an
we
F.
can take these changes and put it into the entire.
I got you. I got you.
Within any
How about the
city
depth
cemetery.
elevation? I mean, excavation.
But,
You saw that?
but I
Well,
guess
I'm not,
what he's
I'm not
saying
sure
is,
that's, I'm not.
Okay,
sure
okay,
that's-
we don't-
talk about it.
Because what I'm concerned
does
about,
that ordinance regulate other
what about the other
cemeteries?
cemeteries?
Private cemetery,
Like
Do they
churches
not
and all
have to, do they
that.
not have to
At,
comply with the burial
Mount
depth and
Sellers.
things like
Mount
that?
Sellers, we don't.
That's, well, here's the thing about that, Ms. Hunt. We don't regulate, or we don't go out there and find out what's going on.
That's my question.
No, we don't,
Is it our responsibility?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think it is. As long as somebody
Yeah,
is responsible for that, it's on them.
so we don't have to maintain it, we don't have to
Yeah.
maintain
I need to contact the state to see.
I think
if
it would be,
something
I
was
think it would be
supposed to
important
be
to
done.
contract.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Because
Which cemetery, which cemetery you talking?
We already got New Mount Sellers out there.
Yeah, just to name one.
That's the one in the city.
See, and so, are we supposed to be regulating what they do there or not? See, I think we need to ask the state that question, because they
You
dump
tell
a lot of
that man
responsibility on the
square.
cities for cemeteries. Abandoned cemeteries.
I mean, cause one thing, if they ever become abandoned their house,
Yeah,
you know,
but are we supposed to also supervise that? So I don't know.
I don't know, so say, well, no, because, first of all, if they're not paying the, you know, they're not.
nothing comes to the city, so why should we be involved
They're
in
paying
it?
the church.
Yeah.
I'm just asking
I-
the
I-
state,
I don't
because
think
the
we
state
can get
doesn't
into it.
always think
Yeah.
that way. Let's dump it on the city.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we
Okay.
can get a,
Mr. Davidson, are you gonna check into that?
yeah, just, okay.
maybe
I
somebody,
mean, that's-
maybe somebody from the state can go out and
Because
inspect and
I don't
there,
know.
and make sure they're in compliance with
I
state
don't know,
law or
because these
whatever.
are-
but
I
city-
got one quick question on this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the new rates. You know, we've been getting a lot of calls,
Mhm.
a lot of sales, and
Mm-hmm.
people kind of know this is in the making.
Well, they'll slow down when they're back
Well,
with the markers.
My question is, would there be a probation period if, once this,
What kind of probate period?
before this rate go in? Say if you prove it within the next month?
That's gonna be it.
Well, I'm
Once
just
we
saying-
approve of this.
No,
that's
people
gonna be
do.
it.
Well, that's what I'm asking
Yeah,
now.
what we
Is you
approve
gonna
it.
make a decision that
With the ordinance,
it go effective immediately?
and it's published.
It's
So
published.
put it in the paper,
That was my question.
it's in effect.
Cause you haven't started selling any at hand in the new part yet, have you?
No.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
but this is what I want
Yeah.
to say, you know, even though, you know, Handy is, you know, to the line, you know, we got plenty graves in the other cemetery, so I didn't know whether this, he just answered the question, said when you go in the
It's
paper,
published.
public,
Yeah,
it's-
once we vote on
Yeah.
it,
That's it.
it's published,
Yeah.
it's law.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my question.
Now, speaking of
So they'll probably
cemetery, now,
have
what about this one over
We
here,
can have.
First Name?
Because
Nobody uses it.
Nobody use it, no,
And plus, Ms. Green has brought up to us that, you know, you would almost be afraid to go over there and dig because you really don't know where to dig. Because there's so much unmarked over there.
they just kind of on their own, that's,
Okay.
I hear that they
Gresham Cemetery over here.
You just,
You know, one of the things we might think about undertaking is seeing as we can get a grant to find the graves over there.
You spearhead that.
I'll
You
investigate.
take care of that.
No, seriously,
I'm serious, man. You take care of that, because, you know, you're gonna bring in somebody to do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's,
it'd be involved.
Could have like sonar, someone they
yeah,
can
they
scan
do,
that
ground
every
penetrating radar,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
just,
yeah.
they find them.
You probably go out there and listen, but you don't
Okay.
know who owned it based on
Yeah.
previous
I
owners.
understand,
Okay.
but at least you
Yeah,
know where the,
trust me.
at least you know where the graves are.
We still own that cemetery,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, well, and we own the Stamp Cemetery over there, close to the
trade school.
Behind.
grade school, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
But people have heard y'all talking.
And the old Baptist Cemetery,
We sold 69 graves 2017, 59 2018, 19 went way down to 27, 20, 64, the past fiscal year, 138.
See, that's, look at my number.
yeah.
We let go.
We gotta get on that, yeah, let's get this.
Yeah, we need, I've already said, we need to get this done.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we were talking about it.
First thing I brought up about the
It needs to be done.
cemetery.
Cause we don't, cause see, half of that 138, you said 138?
Out of time.
Half of that, not even that, half of it been sold since we've been talking about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got them deeds with this thing, yeah, they talk
Hey,
about
and that really ain't the true number, cause I probably got about 15, 20 D's back.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
I'm guilty.
Guilty.
I went about,
I mean, you about 15?
I ain't gonna tell me, I bought a few.
Maybe when we talk about raising the water rates, people will fill their bathtub.
Yeah. Go build a pond. It's back.
I drill a well, for it.
Okay. So, alright, now, are we good right now on the changes that
Yeah,
we
I
talked
think
about in the
Yeah,
cemetery?
I think we know that. We just need to find out.
$48 notice,
I definitely like that notice. Definitely.
30 days proof.
Like I said, not only when this is published, we need to make sure that each funeral home receives this.
They
Yes.
did.
Yes.
And we need to,
Yeah.
choose something to do, we need to get our ordinances put on the city website too, folks.
Very good.
We,
Let's
we
go.
need to put our city
Yes,
ordinances.
yes.
How do y'all feel as far as to make sure if we have any hard standings as far as, you know, hard knock situation? We've got 2 funeral homes, we got more than 2 we gotta deal with. We need some Johnson Brown, you know, all those places too, because they come here. Grange, whoever come here, Davis, you know, so, Mr. Clerk, do you think it'll be a good idea to send those things certified when you send them out to them?
Well, I got a question too, the funeral home that come here and bury, don't they have to get business license from the city and all that? Do we have a list of all the funeral homes that got business license?
They're supposed to, they
Second
should.
Avenue.
But I'm saying, that's what I'm saying, if they're gonna come here and bury, do a service here and bury,
They should.
that's part of it, they should have a business license from the
Yeah,
city.
yeah.
So everybody come here to
There, yeah.
bury, they should have a business license. So
Well,
that way you can send them,
If,
you know.
well, one thing about it, Mr. Green, when he deal with them, with a person coming for anything,
You can check
or
it
to
out.
know they got
They
deed
don't
there,
know they got
then he
deed.
said, hey, who's the funeral home, and, you know, just try to follow up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's all.
let's go to,
Look at that. Maybe we can bring that back here. Bring the city business license stuff back here to the city next.
I would like to see that. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
I voted against having you.
That'll be
I'll
our
do it again.
let's go to the agreement of vision,
agreement of who?
the vision, the feed program they wanna do up here at the, with Tammy's place up here,
Oh,
vision to feed.
everybody had that?
Yeah.
Okay, and the reason I kinda stuck that in there, y'all, was because I just wanna make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah, I'm not.
We didn't expect you. I'm just joking, man. That's the thing and actually, you know, we passed this for them to do.
Mhm.
So I just wanna make sure we all, you know, everything is on the up and up. And Mr. Clerk's been talking to, somebody been talking back and forth as far as they ready to do and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, Mr. Ashley can call up here, call Tony, so then Councilman Thomas call us, and I told him,
Tell them don't worry like that, tell them look in proper town and just call one person and don't worry
yeah,
about it.
I told him, we haven't done everything we need to do.
Yeah,
We gonna finalize that bit, executed,
Right.
the electric department to go out there and do the wiring, George need to get with Tammy to make sure all her stuff is out, so, I mean, it's just a process.
Okay. So that's where we are on that vision deal. And another thing that I have here is the utility services paper, that Richard gave us the other night.
I didn't get one.
You can make it.
What do you think?
Again, didn't we talk about that?
We,
Too many times.
this one,
Y'all made
this
a
is the
copy?
B Street situation, where they wanna put when the tank overflows,
Right.
it'll be on top of the ground. We've talked about that, yes.
We talked about it, we
And-
didn't do it.
Out here
So,
all the time. I mean,
We went ahead and approved it the other night
okay.
for it to get done. Now, I just told the clerk, gotta read everything a little bit closer, because on number 4 here, it says, customer will place and pour concrete pad on the termination after whoever this company is, installation is complete. So this $3,164 don't seem like it's the total price that's gotta be spent on that project.
So we gotta put a concrete slab,
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
how big is that slab gonna be?
Well, you know, if it's anything, I don't know if it'll be anything like the one at the fire department, because the fire department's coming out of the bank. So this one may be a little flatter and everything without the raised up sides and all that, so I don't know. But it will, probably gonna be a little bit more than that 3164 when it's all said and done.
Needs to be done.
Yeah.
That's gonna bring it back.
Alright, here we go. Backflow preventers. So, this is what we got the other night as far as where they need to be. So,
That is.
oh man.
Y'all voted
You're just the
to
mayor.
leave it like it is, so
Well,
that means we're not gonna install.
Here's the thing, we voted to do whatever the ordinance say do. However the ordinance say do it right now, that's what we want, need to do. Now, what needs to happen in, yes, sir,
I was gonna make a copy of that,
Yes, which one?
For the mayor, utility service.
This here,
Anybody else need?
I need a copy.
he needs this too. You can take it on, I can talk off of it.
That's how that dollar sign on there, that's the total for all of those?
Which one, this backflow?
Yeah.
Just the front page.
Probably so. Hey man, I got a bunch of
That's
stuff.
what Richard
Richard gave us
gave me
these,
all that.
Yeah, I give it to the council.
And then this right here was in the council.
that was in the council package.
Yeah, I have that, I didn't just have the front part.
Okay. He did it. He did it.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead. Okay, so here's the deal with those. In the clerk, between the attorney, the clerk, with your signature, whatever, need to send out a letter to the schools and whoever they need to go to.
Everybody on that list.
Yeah, everybody on that list. You know, it ain't nothing that, you know, we need to deal with.
The Board of Education, not the school.
The Board of Education, yes. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. That's, and you see, that's what Richard was, I'll take him to the school. No, you ain't got no business, hold up, don't do that. Cause you ain't gonna get
Well,
nowhere.
let me ask y'all something about that. All the backflows we already have in place right now, they're testing their own. So, or we
Okay, so
need
what the
to
ordinance
reach
say?
out to them
So
to
what
let
did the
them
ordinance
know
say?
that we're gonna start.
What did the ordinance say?
The ordinance says that we do the annual testing on all the backflows,
Who's paying for it?
the city.
Okay.
Well,
But
we haven't been doing
we
it.
haven't been doing that.
Okay, so,
Like the nursing homes and all these people, they have been paying all
How
these years.
many you think we got out there?
I told her to
Okay.
get me a list.
So here's maybe what we need to do.
Effective, I mean, you know.
We need
Yeah,
to,
effective from this date forward or something, I mean,
Yeah.
because.
Yeah, can't go
you
back
just-
and,
Yeah,
no, then
cause
everybody.
then you're gonna be paying a bunch of money, 'cause
Effective, whatever
the
they.
only ones I'm responsible for is my waste plant, and my water plant. I have them tested every year. Hydrofire comes out and tests
So
mine.
we need, when we approved it, well, we need to come up with an effective date, starting,
But I just don't want the city getting a mess, having to spend out a bunch of money on something that was supposed to have already been done but wasn't done. That's
within
work,
that.
yeah. I used to have mine done a few days or a week before, just to make sure I don't.
Okay. And y'all have a list of all the ones that have them and when they were installed.
I don't know if he does or
I
not.
mean, that's Richard.
Yeah, the only one I have is my waste plant, and my water plant,
We need to
and I
make-
keep
get
up with them
on that.
every single year.
So,
But not only that, and I told this to Richard, in that cross connection agreement, that ordinance, he is supposed to keep an inventory of every single backflow in this city, and he is supposed to physically go out and check those and make sure they are being tested or inspected every year.
Well, he
That
got
is, he
time to
does
do it.
not have a record of that ever being done.
He can start doing it.
So if ADM comes and they say, I wanna see your inspection of
Backflow.
your backflows, and he don't have one, they can write us up and we can be fined for it. So that has got to be done also. And I told him if he would get me a list of them, I would do a spreadsheet for him, an inventory, I mean, where he can go in and check them off every year. I'll be glad to do that, cause, you know,
So do we know whether the car wash have a backflow?
I'm not sure.
Because
He is supposed to be
Because
giving
see
me a
here,
list.
in the council packet,
Is it
it's
in that
package
list
in
that
here.
has to
It
have?
says facilities requiring backflow. That's car wash, hospital clinics and medical buildings, morgues, mortuaries and autopsy facilities. So is that referring to the funeral home?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, they should
And
have
then
them
they be
too.
on the list too then.
Swimming pools,
Any place that has a lab or any chemicals are being fed or anything like
Irrigation
that,
system
that can
with
back
chemicals,
seep into this.
swimming pools,
Okay.
sewage treatment plants.
Private swimming pools or public ones?
Actually, guys, that's actually is in the, Southern Building Code.
Okay.
So we need to get that, make sure we up on that stuff, y'all.
But also, each customer is supposed to have a, double check valve installed, and I mean, all of them are. So even if they're an old one, he needs to inventory those, and if they don't have one on it, it's in the regulations of ADM that they should have already had one put in it.
That's in the-
Okay.
But I know they're doing it on the new ones now, they're installing them as they put new meters in, but I'm just telling y'all things that can be checked, and if they're not up to par, we could be in some. Y'all want me to make y'all a list of all this stuff?
Please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
Please.
All the problems.
Okay.
I mean, I just don't want us to get in trouble, I mean, it's.
We need to have another meeting and have Mr. Chapman here to,
Yeah, so he
with
can understand
everything,
it
we
too.
have a checklist, everything.
Well, we gotta have another one anyway when we come back.
Yeah.
So we-
Yeah, for the next one, yeah, when we do the next meeting.
All right, so who is this from you?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we got a new sheet here.
I can explain.
So I'm gonna let Mr. Green tell y'all what's the deal here.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, what's it?
We've been diligently working on the sanitation problem that the county had. And Mr. Hunt and some others been talking. And what we're trying to do is figure out what's the best way, kind of slow the rate of trash being put out. So we're trying to come up with some selected days that you put out certain things. And we kind of looking at Wednesday, that'll give us kind of like.
Excuse me a second, one second. We done with Ann on her part, everything?
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, yeah, we just
Make sure,
get us everything we
I'm
need.
gonna make you a list.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the cross connection.
Yeah, we good.
I had to read it to find all of it out myself,
Yeah.
but it's
Okay.
it's actually in there, but I'll make y'all a list so we can do.
Definitely, well, when ADM comes, they're coming. I mean,
We good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
And
Thank you.
they
Thank
take
you.
note.
all right, thank y'all.
All right, we good.
I didn't know that ain't,
All right, Mr. Green.
But what I was saying, we had some, we got hit on with some quick stuff on sanitation, that I got to be a big business now with the landfill. But what we decided to do, we're looking at different ways to educate the public. Number one, what we planning on doing, we got a list of things that we don't take. We're thinking about next time we do meter read, we either get those lists and put them on a door, or a door hanger, or either we take the notification on the door for maybe 2 months, so they'll get it. Cause a lot of people don't read the paper,
Yeah.
a lot of people won't see it on social
this
media.
pretty much what it's gonna be, everything that's on here.
Well, that's the foot, landfill don't dump and some other
What I'm
rules.
saying, this right here,
This is
Well,
great.
this right here is a selected date, we wanna start letting them put mattresses out. things that we kinda have a tough time, mattresses, furniture. So if they put it out on Wednesday, then that give us maybe 2 days to get totally around time. Instead of them just throwing it out on Saturday or Sunday, don't put it out there on Wednesday. That'll also probably slow our rate down on debris outside the road. Looking at different things, different dates, and, letting them know they need to notify them that they need to separate stuff and while we doing it. So we figure we gotta do this for maybe 2 months, get some door hangers, or either put this thing on it, and also give them that list of what we don't, we can't have. Right now, we having to get an agreement with Waste Away, but simply because they don't own the landfill right now to take stuff, so we're getting all that set up right now, but we picking it up, piling it over there, till we get all our dumpsters and get set up at the, scale now. So maybe once a day, they might have to go to Salem to keep them filling these dumpsters up, cause these dumpsters is pretty expensive. So we kicking the can on down the road till we can figure out how to minimize this cost, cause if we don't, we're gonna see a big bang in our budget at the end of the
Man,
year.
I'm gonna tell you, if we can keep from going to Salem, I think we need to as much as possible.
We, the landfill down there gonna change to a construction and demo, landfill. And we're gonna pay $18 more per ton.
You ever get a chance to check on that one now?
Yes, that's, Sandy Hill. They kinda, doing a little research on that, they kinda letting certain people come in and out of that thing from Auburn. What I found out, this landfill up here is so much cheaper than the landfill down that way. They can take stuff out of that landfill or pick it
Bring it
up
back up here.
and bring it back up here and pay that difference and still make $10 on the ton. So then,
There you go.
so it's a battle. I think what Amway really wanna do is take over everything. They got Valley and Lynette, and Waste Away, somebody got a sped garbage,
So,
Waste Management. So I think they're trying to wiggle their way.
so Amway, or whoever
Amway.
how much do they charge? Do they do the pickup services, debris and all this stuff that you guys are doing?
Well, right now, Lynette be doing the dumpster thing too, because they also shut them down, see? And then Valley and Waste already doing the garbage and the,
But I'm saying, do Amway go around and pick up lamp,
No.
household stuff?
they
No.
make the money with the dumpster thing.
Okay.
So CNC had Lynette garbage, Amway bought them out. So now Amway's is kinda like, so I think it's just it's kinda set up to get all the bids. So now, we either gotta get a dumpster from them or somebody.
So is it cheaper to get the dumpsters and put them out versus us taking the stuff down there ourselves? And,
Well, as of right now, I haven't really,
but once you,
maybe we need to talk with Amway executives once we get set up, or temporary right now, I'm just trying to figure out how to get rid of it. We just might need to do a short-term agreement with Waste Away, cause it might not be something, but once we have to look at some other ways, otherwise we're gonna be paying $18 more per turn and going 32 miles one way.
that's what I'm saying, look at letting them pick up that stuff versus us going out there picking up and hauling it and just, if they,
That's something we're gonna have to look at, see, this hill is so quick.
I think I think we should look at that, that'll take us, free a guy to, do something else. If, get a one-stop shop, they do it all, get a service provider,
I think that's what they.
that do it all, and that'll take us, the money we'll save on buying a limb truck, and we use that money for something else, or whatever. We use the old limb truck for,
But I guarantee you, we're gonna spend more than $100,000 with them if they pick up all this stuff we can. But I got some
But
numbers on what we take on a day.
that's why you come with a schedule, and people gotta abide by the schedule, and we come put something in place, if they don't,
Yeah. We trying to survive for maybe 2-3 months so we can figure something out. This is in between budgets.
I think that's a good
So
point.
this wasn't even in last year budget, even planning, even thinking about something happening like this. So, it's done changed at least 2 or 3 times last couple of years. You've seen what we did.
Like I said, we come up with a plan, and like I said, look at all the options, if you got somebody gonna pick up, that do that service, pick up all that stuff, that's too, so we looking at raising the rates and stuff, that's.
Right now, Amway might offer some better deal on the dumpsters thing. But-
Have you talked to them, have you reached out to them?
And I haven't talked to them yet, but Waste Management, who we're already tired of with,
Well, look at that option.
they got the landfill that takes everything. You see what I'm saying? So we picking up stuff that this one say they don't take, but if you put them in a dumpster, they take it. You see what I'm saying?
But I'm saying, that's why you said waste management, have you talked to waste management about what price they would give us?
Yes, that's what I'm telling you, they $18 higher than these guys down here. But now these guys, the same stuff they tell you, you can't bring across the scale.
You put it in the dumpster.
You put it in
they
that
take-
dumpster, they take it straight to the landfill. So what did that look like? They steering you toward using them.
Right.
So we might have to do that.
Yep.
You know, this is just gonna give me a little more time to get, this thing will just change too fast.
Well, I mean, that's something, go ahead and do what you need to do and get that back to us so we can look at all the options and.
We looked at that and scrap. I've been talking to several people, see what could they do? See how they would buy us a dumpster and how much it would cost. So, but that didn't pan out because all the equipment is, it's rented out. So we probably got 15, 20 loads over there now. We got to try to get rid of it. Cause we
It's
got,
already over in the dumpster.
well, the dumpsters ain't got any yet, but they should be on their way. You know,
Go ahead and reach out
we
to-
gotta try to get these big ones.
Well, when are you gonna reach out to waste management and?
We've been on a conversation with them all this week and some last week. Cause you had to talk to some people high up, because we wasn't, they set up for our garbage,
Yeah.
not landfill, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, they already got.
What about 121?
Hadn't talked with them yet, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, see, they just came in and took over school system.
Right, I seen it, so.
See, hey,
They did come here and talk, maybe you had.
Well, they were talking residential.
I had contact.
They were talking residential, but they ain't got no at that time,
They
they,
got dumpsters, they got big roll-off dumpsters too.
well, let's
know what I'm
look at
saying?
it.
I'm
They
talking
talk
residential
about it.
trash. They didn't have that when they came.
Well, who did they make contact when they come to the city?
They can't talk to us at council meeting.
Right.
But
They contacted me first, and I invited them to.
Was there any way you might can reach out to them and see what, you know?
You hear every day though, George, that's something.
Well, I'm calling,
I think 121, I
I'm
mean,
calling 100 people a day, you know, I'm trying to do about 25.
where's 121, where are they located?
They are
On
on
147.
That's one of them, that's one of
280.
280. Yeah, you can't go out, put a face, go out, get that nice truck.
All you gotta do is know time Luke was the football coach.
Yeah.
Go do
He
that.
down
Hey,
there.
get out, take a, I
He
mean,
was
I
there.
think you say, hey, I'm going down, get out and go,
Yeah.
talk to them on the phone, you
Yeah.
do better face to face, and you build a relationship.
I agree, but, you know, I've been here, there.
Well, yeah,
trying to-
let your number 2 man run it, or do it,
Yeah.
get out there and go face to face, man, you gotta go talk to these folks, talk to them on the phone, they'll tell you anything.
Hey, I
But
want
just
to,
about meeting somebody, you your business, man, you
Yeah.
gotta go.
I'm
Got
trying
that
to
card
get,
somewhere, but
I'm trying to
like
get
I
the
said,
best,
go out
best.
You got,
Man,
you do it all by telephone,
Yeah,
man, I mean,
man.
you go down there and talk to somebody face to face, you know.
So-
We got hit full.
So on this sheet here, in your household garbage, you all got in here, that the trash should be outside the road by 4 AM on the scheduled pickup day.
It's just a draft.
Well, I'm just saying, remember, Waste Management Wasteway don't ask them to do it till 6 that day, by 6 that
But they
morning.
sometimes come by before 6.
Well, I don't
They
know.
they be up.
Yeah, they do.
4, 6 o'clock. In the summertime, I know they.
It's always good, they put it up the night before or whatever, so that kind of get them, you know,
Yeah.
some folks you wait till 6, they probably don't wake up until,
It's
Yeah.
true.
And then,
Okay.
they gone, they didn't get my garbage, and you
Yeah.
come, you ride through there and the garbage, whatever you can put out there, so, you know, say 4 o'clock, you give them a little more wiggle room.
So here's the thing about this, guys, on some of this stuff. So what are the consequences? If I don't do it?
They gonna,
If I don't get my trash can in by 7 AM by the next day, what are the consequences?
By 7 AM the next day?
Yeah.
the day after collection.
If I don't have my trash can off the side of the road by 7 o'clock the
Hey,
next morning.
these are ideas.
Well, I understand that.
Well, hey, how does it look, and I'll tell you 2 things. First of all, when you drive down the street and what you see is
Trash can.
string of trash cans on both sides,
Yeah.
it doesn't make the city very appealing. okay?
Well,
But let me tell you one thing that happened. When I did a survey of my constituents, I asked them, do you think it's harmful to the city to leave garbage cans out at the curb all week? Okay? I'll tell you what, you drive down 431 now, Lafayette Street South, you hardly see any garbage cans by the curb at 2 days after collection.
Well, I
People
don't
have,
agree.
people, you know, it's just get it into people's minds.
I've never agreed, because you know what I say about trash can? I don't want that to be the welcoming mat to my house.
Exactly, exactly, but people don't think
I
about it.
don't want that.
People don't think about it. If you make them think about it, they'll do something.
Yeah.
If you don't, if they don't think about it, everybody else has got theirs out. But if you get it into their mind, they'll do it. And even if everybody doesn't do it, if you get 80% of them off, you've done a great job. So, you know.
I just know that, just like I said earlier, as far as the mass deal, anything that you do, you say do it, but what are the consequences if you don't do it?
Yeah.
So that's just one of those things that, you look at and say, well, I ain't gonna do nothing if I don't put it in, so I just leave it sitting out.
With a $10 fine, and get my revenue, get a
You know,
little thing, you go out there and put a $10, you
Yeah.
make a note of it, $5 fine or something.
Now, I'll say this about some of the stuff that Mr. Green and
Be after
picking up
your
and stuff
bill,
like that.
cite you, you be after your bill next month.
Joe Blow don't put something out that side of the road, he don't care how many days that lay out there.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be honest with you. Cause you gotta think about it. If a person gonna change his bedding hours for the mattress stuff, he probably gonna do it on the weekend. Or like,
Yeah.
he going to work Monday through Friday. And he gonna put that out there so he don't have to worry about it at a later time. It's just,
I understand what you're saying, but
Yeah.
still, but at some point, you got to have,
you gotta have rules that we're going for.
We gotta get people out of that
mindset
frame
that
that
it'll
we
be
can
okay.
do what we wanna do.
Yep.
Well, you know why I took
Give
some
that
of this,
more.
you know why I took
Something.
some of this study from? I was working up in, on Stone Road in Atlanta, and I was up there 3 or 4 days.
Well, they got somebody coming out and grinding, they won't,
And when
they.
the trash, my
they-
sister lived there,
Mhm.
I noticed 2, 3 different vehicles,
Well, I know
and
they
different
look
one of them picking up trash. And she like, well, you don't put mattresses and things out,
Mhm.
on Thursday.
Well, that's
Put
a
them
lot
out
of
there, they
places.
gonna come back by his frame.
Yeah, that's a lot of
You
places.
put limbs and things out there
Mhm.
on a certain day.
Yeah.
The city ain't jumped up.
Yeah.
What I'm saying.
You got
We
to-
got certain days,
You know.
and they had guys
Yeah.
go down till they get the garbage one day. I was there 3 or 4 days, and every day I looked there, somebody picked up some off the curb.
Mhm.
But it wasn't all of it at one time.
Yeah. Well, it's just like in Mobile. I mean, my daughter down there, green trash can, blue trash can,
Yeah.
maybe a black trash can. Each one of those are a company. You put your trash out on the day that you're supposed to get your trash picked up. The blue company coming through the day. Only thing need to be out of that blue trash can.
Like I said, we wanna educate every resident in town. If you put it on their door, they get it.
Here's part of the problem. Yes, we wanna be that mom and pop town, that's fine. But we gotta have rules and regulations.
And they gotta help us with it.
People have gotten so set at it's the way we've always done it.
Yeah.
Time to
They
change.
don't want no change.
Yeah. Okay, guys, let's move on. Let's go to,
Yeah.
Well, when we do get ready to do this, my suggestion is not to put it on the door, but some kind of way forward and let them staple it to the light bill. So
Yeah, what we
Or
talk,
would that cost us more postage?
yeah, it would.
it would, but I'd rather be cost more postage than
okay.
we put it on the door and it blow away and say, I didn't get it, but at least when they get that
Yeah,
light
you
bill.
get it in the form of like a postcard.
Yeah,
Well, and you can also hand it out when people come to pay their bills. You don't have
Yeah.
offer them one when they come to pay their bills in person, okay?
that
When
bill,
we open the,
I just wanna make sure it's
Oh, yeah.
some kind of way.
and whenever they come to sign up for trash collection, they get a copy of it.
Maybe we look at
Put it-
something
put
to
it-
get away from that post, if we
Put it on the
change. I
website,
think the new system Lou's gonna get, I think we might
Yeah,
be
okay,
getting away
change
from
that,
that postcard,
Yeah.
the small card.
yeah.
Cause I tell you, when I was working somewhere, and they sent stuff out, any information from City Hall,
Yeah.
they had a place on that light bill thing, anything that they want to put out to the city, had enough room to put that in there.
I don't think the one they do now.
Yeah, the one that got that, they don't, but maybe
Yeah.
they'll get something different.
Yeah.
Um,
We gotta get the word out there, always gonna.
Yeah.
Start mailing out an envelope, start, instead of a postcard, then you can attach, you can put stuff like this in an envelope,
Yeah,
get away from that
And we
postcard.
we were saying that everybody that came sign up for new service, cause this is the thing, everybody that come to the fair ain't always live in the fair, so they might have moved out the rural.
Right.
when they come up here and sign up for light bill and everything,
Yeah.
we want to try to make sure
Yeah,
they get one
Yeah.
then.
yeah.
You know, new services especially.
Like
So
a
they-
service package, or
Right.
anything pertaining to any city service that they're
They-
paying for,
they should
they
always
should
get a
get a copy of
Yeah.
what, you
So
know.
we gotta change a lot of
Those
stuff.
guidelines, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't think you have to feel real ruthless about enforcing this, but you know, you'll see some cases that are bad, and I know a couple, you know, but most people, you know, if you make them think about it, they'll just try to do something.
Something simple as an ad in the paper, we trying to beautify and build up the city, this and that, and that, little simple things like take the trash, can,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, exactly.
and put it on the city website, we gotta get something, we can add stuff to that.
Ain't that no
Yes,
website.
we need things on the
Yeah, we
website.
need-
Ordinance.
We need to get somebody in here to build up that website or what?
Yeah, that Red Sage, the company that we got it,
Oh,
same company that Valley and all of you, but ours is,
Yeah.
we gotta stay on it to where, get some of the same stuff.
well, you know, I mean, it's not well maintained.
No, it's not.
And that's probably our fault for not giving them the information to put
Yeah.
on it.
Right.
Alright,
Like, things like council meetings, you know, show those on the calendar, that'd be a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Various committees coming up.
feasibility study. Yours Drive.
Okay, yes.
Okay, I thought we were talking about raising, I didn't know.
Hey, man.
Okay. Well, I'm saying, I'm glad you bring it
I
up.
think I got
I
several
would've
things
brought my
on my
I
list
would've
over
brought
here.
my- Go ahead.
Well, here, you can get, you
No,
can
go
look at
ahead.
it, I'm like, I'm looking at this.
That's
Uh,
I remember.
But the feasibility study for Jurgens Drive, you know, there were, you know, three options, 83,000, or 130,000,
Gravel or something?
159,000.
I take that second option.
Well, I made a recommendation to Alan, that was off to me, about, I know the ditches and things need to be done, what if we tar and gravel that road? So he, like, bailed on, like, yeah, that is, and what I mean by just tar and gravel, it got a pretty good base, they spray the ground with, tar,
Drop them gravel in
Drop
on top
gravel.
of it.
don't even asphalt, and then maybe do a second coat, it will cut the cost down. So that was one option that he probably had thought
And then
about.
I'm building up the curb and too, so that.
Well, you know, cutting the ditches and things is just, you know, part of the work, but, you know, I don't know whether, all the thing I wanted to do was not even do any of that when I was trying to get us to do. I was just talking about paving the existing road.
See that last trailer or next to the last house or trailer on that road, if you go down and look, the water washed away the, embankment, even the water meter is
It's out.
exposed, it's up out of the ground,
Yeah.
and water off, I mean, the dirt up under the water meter has been washed away, so it's not even covered. So,
Let me tell y'all something, saying that, and you saying that, Richard and them took care of it. Regardless of what. That's the kind of stuff that,
Yeah.
you know, if we got, I'm gonna say this, y'all, if we got time to cook, we got time to fix some of these problems we got.
yeah.
You know, the cooking of the week just wasn't the first cooking. They cook quite often out there,
Yeah.
you know. Now, you know, it take more than an hour for your lunch, for y'all to sit down out there and cook and eat. It take more than an hour. So, we got more problems around town that y'all can be dealing with. You know, and I'll go a step further, not just his guy, but, you know, all the city vehicles, or most of the city vehicles, dirty,
Yeah.
nobody washing them. You know, you want to take a little break, go wash the truck.
And especially, a lot of these jokers got, guys, they got take-home vehicles. You put a company vehicle, you would make sure that thing is serviced, clean, taken care of. But the money you save driving another county, another state, whatever, we need to look at that. I know, to my valley, but when Riley came in, that's one of the costs. They took, just people that really needed one, on-call investigator or whoever. But a lot of those city vehicles that people just issue and drive them all over the place, they save so much money. You know,
back in.
Move back in, no, people, they got it good, they complain about, oh, more money, the money you're saving, we give you a vehicle, you don't take care of it, pull them vehicles back in and, I mean, make them drive their own personal stuff up here, man. Like I said, we're a city of 2,600 people.
Well, look how many police cars we taking home every day.
I know. One blew by me about a month or so ago. I was heading down off White about 5:30. Shoot, that black Chevrolet, but no ID, nothing on it. That thing came up from 4 lane. It was getting it, man. And it went over White and somewhere down there. But I'm saying, we look at all the vehicles, the money we're spending on take-on vehicle, man, the fuel and okay, if you live near close by, that's fine. Within the city or at least jurisdiction, or even in the county, that would be something different. But living in a whole nother county, a whole nother state and all that.
Yeah. So with what was being said as far as feasibility study, you talked to Alan as far as the tar and gravel.
That's my recommendation.
That's a recommendation that he need to give us some numbers back to.
Right. Now, what I would say, the problem is just so much soil washes down to it, and just covers the road. The ditches do need to be good. I don't know whether that's something that we could take a short route on if we don't want to spend. But it needs some type of surfacing up there on that elevation to stop the stuff from washing. It was more than I thought. Estimate numbers come out more than I thought. I know we asked him to look at it, and he looked at it on the engineer of building the road. It's an easement. We still ain't no on the road. Way I was looking at it, if we just repair the easement, because our waste-away truck gotta go up there, which is very heavy. Our limb truck, and we got utilities up there, so we have to use the road too. It just need to make surface with something, maybe not go that far with it if, we can't afford it, but at least surface it to where we don't get so much soil washing straight down the road. That's one of the bigger problems. We gotta run it straight and clean it.
Yeah, I'm looking at long term, something we don't have to go and do something with that road every 3 to 5 years or whatever. Something of 2 or 3 years, we got to get back to something else going on. That we do something that will last for a long time.
Where some of the pipes and the covers, in the driveway, we put in there correctly and things of that nature.